levelling off this area where the raised bed was. Managed to dig out one of my apple trees. Took with it as much of the base as possible, as much in the root area as possible. It's really very cold. It's like -2. So we're all sniffling out here. When I say all, I mean me and Mr. We're both just sniffling outside here. So excuse us as we sniffle. We've got to sniffle in order to get this job done. It's a column tree. I purchased this one, I remember, many years ago. But it's, as you can just see, just a vertical. It doesn't have a lot of lateral branches, and that was intentional to fit into a particular space. But where are you? That was intentional to fit into a particular space. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to temporarily house it into a container so that over the winter it can just stay in there until such time that I find its permanent place. In the meanwhile, progress is definitely being made, and we are shoveling up where the beds will go. I'm going to have to sieve through all of this. Hey, mister. Okay, so leveling down. Thank you for joining me on this journey. It's already taking shape, but there's still a lot to do. Okay, so let me take this tree, oops, a daisy, camera in one hand, tree in the other. Oops, I don't want to lose the camera. And I have a pot here. I'm going to place it in there. But first, I must top that pot up with some of the sifted soil. So I'm just putting some of the sifted compost in the base first. So there's going to be a lot of us temporarily rehousing the plants along this edge here until such time that I find a position for them. But that will do for now for the apple tree. It's it'll make it through the winter because it's dormant. And then I'm hoping that before it emerges from spring that I have found it a home, so long as the ground is workable and not frozen. That's one way to keep warm in the winter, isn't it? Why are we doing this? This is to provide a little bit more protection at the back to prevent the foxes, which are very inclined on digging through from one garden to the next, from coming through. So the hope here is that by adding this mesh, wire mesh, it will prevent the critters from getting through from one garden to the other, as they tend to like digging under the fences. So that's the purpose of that, and then backfill with the soil. Okay, so like I said in one of the other videos, it's been dug deeper than it needs to be, if that makes sense, and then I've actually topped it off just to make it level using the sifted, or the unsifted soil I should say, the one that's got all the debris, the larger lumps, just to level off this area. At the very back there's the mesh at the back, and then this is the stuff. The sifted one is going to go back into the planters, but the unsifted one, which is this, the rubbly type, is going to be used to make the ground nice and level. Just raking it all down. And then back to sifting soil. It's hard work, but somebody good has got to do it. Look how amazing this soil is. This is from my vegetable beds. It's compost. Some of it's shop bought, but the majority of it has just been years of home composting. Beautiful. And I'll be using this again in the new raised beds, the metal raised beds, which are actually repurposed. They've been used for something else, and we're going to use them for the raised beds. But look at this lovely compost. And here is that metal container, which we are going to repurpose as a raised vegetable bed. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Can you feel our excitement? Can you feel our excitement? This is it. On its own empty, it weighs. On its own empty, it weighs 62 kg. Ugh, that's a whole human being. So this is what the new raised gardens are going to look like. I'm sure we'll get the appropriate paint and put on there as well. We'll probably paint. It's cold. We shall probably paint them. What colour are we going to paint them? We'll paint them grey. I think we'll paint them grey. Okay, so I just thought I had to show you the first one going into place, but we're far from complete. It's just to sort of get an idea. We need to put some boulders underneath it so that it does not sink into the soil. And we're just measuring up and all kinds of stuff. When I say we, you can see that I'm holding the camera. Okay, then I will update you as we make progress. Let me go and give a hand, okay? It shall all be clear soon. Long enough? Yeah, 3. Okay, that's not bad. Wherever there's a problem, there's always a solution. We're digging a trench, and I'll explain later on the purpose of this. Hopefully it will become apparent. If you think you can figure this out, this long plank of wood and the trench being dug, then by all means, drop me a comment. Drop me a comment if you have figured out what this is, the purpose of this trench. So we're digging out a trench. This is hard work. This is a project that has been in the making for a long time, and we've put it off for such a long time, but it's time. It's time. Okay, that's certainly not the finished product. It's just to sort of see how it's going to work out. In the meantime, guess what I'm doing? Absolutely shoveling soil, sifting soil, separating soil from the fine soil, the coarser soil, and the bits of debris. I kind of like the fact that this place is just looking so discombobulated. I like that it is looking all kinds of, because let's see, we've got one wheelbarrow with the larger parts of soil. We have one that I'm filling up with the pebbles. We have this bed here with the sifted. We have the sieve going on here. We have the digging going on here, the trench. And I hope it will become apparent soon what we're doing here in order to have these sit on something. There you go, there's a clue. But we are making progress. It's a cold day, body's warm. I think our fingers are cold though. But honestly, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We've got the birds for company. They're singing and cheering us along, as are you. Thank you. Okay, for me, I can barely feel my fingers in front of me, but progress is being made, and that's the whole point. The sun is coming down, the sun is setting, and I'm calling it a day, although it may not be the end of the particular video, if you get my drift. In terms of what I'm able to do today, I'm done for today. The sun is setting in the UK. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Keep well. Winter in the UK. We have got the frost. We have got the ice. These are the bananas, remember? I wrapped them up in these protective wrappings, which are really laundry washing line covers. But the frost is severe. The cars are iced over, and these cuttings I took with the banana leaves, do you remember? You can hear just how cold and icy things are. But today, New Year 2025, look at the incredible blue sky. But not only that, look at the sun. We've got the best of both worlds today. We have got incredible sunshine, and there is warmth coming from the sun. But of course, we have also got this intense frost. It's early morning, and it's just a beautiful sound to hear the crispy crunching under the feet. The ground is solid. I will not be digging or planting anything today. These worm casts, they are frozen solid. The ground is frozen solid. But at the same time, we have this incredible sun. Look. Oh, be in the garden, be in nature. I trust that you and all you care for and love are well. I trust that they are all well. We certainly are. Have a look at this. Look at the frost. Look at the frost. On the top of that fence, we have the Boston ivy. And those icicles are just a joy. Let me see if I can get closer without causing myself some damage. But look at the frost. Look at the ice. Pretty, right? The apple tree. It's getting some of the sun, and the frost here on the apple tree is melting off. Yeah? So the ice is melting in places. That is a single drop of rainwater. And here is the apple again. This is the following day. We have the frost on the one side, and where the sun is hitting the apple, on the other side, the frost is melting away. Now, this is an apple that has survived the winter and for whatever reason is still hanging on for dear life on that tree. Isn't that something? The frost has visited our... Well, who can guess what this is before I reveal what it is? Any guesses? It's a simple garden table. With a layer of ice. One of the laurel hedges. Tips. And the frozen pebbles beneath my feet. A bit of frozen moss. Back to where we were yesterday. The ground is frozen. There'll be no digging today. The soil is solid. The soil is solid. So, what can I do in the garden today? The soil is solid. What can I do in the garden today? The wheelbarrow that I abandoned yesterday, the contents is frozen. The soil I was sifting, frozen. Even my sieve that I made. frozen. The stillness of the garden, frozen. The rocks by the pond, frozen. Mini icicles. I think all I can really do today in the garden is just to be in the garden, to be in nature. The stillness and the peace that I get when I'm in the garden is immeasurable. The joy. This right here is the almond tree. And yes, here in the UK, it surprised me that we are able to grow almonds. That said, we do have to wrestle with the squirrels. The peace and tranquility. Just a day ago, I planted out the bamboos. Do you remember? In the polystyrene container. I'm glad I did because the soil is frozen solid, and I won't be able to do much. The ground is frozen solid. There's really not much I can do in the garden except enjoy. I can possibly move a few containers around, but I'm in some ways actually glad that it is so cold and frozen, because it's absolutely making me have to just stop momentarily. I'm still in that area of the garden, just showing you where I have been filling up the dumpy bags. I've placed these berries temporarily, and thank you to my friend who left me a beautiful comment about going out and buying themselves some of these. The dumpy bags are still work in progress, but the soil is absolutely frozen. I just can't do. I mean, I can, yeah. And the reason why now would not be a good, once the ground is frozen, um, it's really, that's really the time to know that there will be no digging and planting. And the reason being is that the soil will be in clumps. And so if I were to have waited till today to repot these up, for example, the ground would have been so solid that there would have been large air pockets around the roots. Um, you can really do planting at any time of the year, so long as the ground is not frozen. Because the frozen soil, though you may be able to dig it, will not be able to provide the plants with all the necessary coverage of soil around the roots. There are likely to be air pockets around. And so, absolutely, you can purchase bare root trees and you can purchase root ball trees at this time of year. But in terms of planting them on, you do advisably need to wait for the soil, or at least I wait for the soil to soften where there is no frost, just to ensure that the soil around the roots provides enough coverage. This was the apple tree, if you remember, just the other day. I temporarily repotted and it's just sat in the soil. And just as well I did it when I did, because the soil is now really not so workable, at least for me. Remember, everything I do in the garden is exactly that, is what I do in the garden. And I know I sometimes say, okay, this is how to do this, and this is how to do this. Certainly, I guess I'm not really advising anybody. I'm just sharing my experience. This is just 24 hours later with this area here, and you saw in the video how easy this soil was just to move just 24 hours ago, and now this particular area is quite solid. Anyway, I hope you are well, you are keeping well, and just keeping well whatever it is that you are doing. This is a long project. This is a project that's going to take us many more hours. Those hours might turn into weeks and likely months. But we need to make progress here. I can't wait to start sowing some seeds and planting out our vegetables. In the meanwhile, whilst I just roam around the garden. This is the cherry tree, one of the cherry trees that we have here. We've got the camellia. Chameleon is the animal, isn't it? This is a camellia. The buds are tight, but they'll be flowering in the next few weeks. Camellia, a great, well, we find a slow growing plant, but a great plant to have in any garden. The reason why, you saw the glossy leaves, have a look. Amazing glossy leaves, evergreen. And these are flowers that flower in winter here in the UK. So we're talking about January, February time. This will be in full bloom. It needs no attention whatsoever. You plant this once and you've got flowers guaranteed, really, year after year after year. So that's the camellia plant. And listen to the birds. There's a plane just in the distance. So birds sound beautiful, don't they? The cockerel just had to know he's around too, didn't he? Nature. Be in nature. Be in the garden. Be out in nature. The birds are incredible. This is my magnolia tree. And in the next month or so, all those little buds that you see will bloom. And she is the most magnificent thing. She truly is. The birds just flew over my head. Did you hear that? Oh, wow. They literally skimmed past my ear. There's a blue tit there. I just don't even want to move. There's a blue tit in the magnolia tree. I don't even want to move. I don't know if you can see her. Oh, and she's gone. That was beautiful. That's possibly the closest a bird has ever gone past me, the blue tit. It must have only been a foot away from me. Went past my left ears. My left ears. I only have one left ear. See what nature does to you? It brings you joy, it brings you peace, it brings you happiness, and it brings you laughter. Laughter is great medicine. The blue tit went past my left ear. I only have one. And so close, I felt the vibrations and the sound of the wings. But anyway, I just love being in nature. And thank you to each and every single one of you. Thank you, all of you who watch. Thank you, all of you. Please do press the like button. Click it now. Click that like button. Click that like button. Let's all generate positive energy, love, healing by being out in nature. Let's all do that. Let's all do that. These are my yellow tulips, just emerging slowly through the rectangular container I have for them here. My yellow tulips, they are absolutely a delight. I take joy in seeing these every single year. Though the squirrels have dug some of them out because there are not as many as I've had in the first year that I planted them out, they still are just a beautiful sight to see when they finally emerge. The ground is solid, but the sun is slowly melting parts of it. This is the lawn, and I do have some crocuses that will be emerging in this area. And that's me there with a tripod in my hand, my gloves in the other. Keep watching. We've just removed a couple of the compost bins for now. They're temporarily just moved a bit further up the garden. So this area here, that as you saw previously had the wooden raised beds, are now free of those beds, and we're just preparing this area for the metal beds. It's a hard, tedious, many hours of hard work, but progress is being made. It's not something that's going to be completed in hours, nor perhaps days. We're talking about many weeks of hard work. The string is going down just to create a straight line, and I will get back to you in just a moment. Lots of sniffles going on here. Working in the dark, in the cold. Okay, so I'm sure we'll be packing away at some point soon. For today, we have sunken in a strip of wood, and it may not make sense just now, but it will. Just keep watching.